Welcome to the video. In this video what I want to show you this thing here. This is the Eachine LCD 5802D. Now the D stands for diversity, and it also has a couple of other tricks up its sleeve too. Now we are a big fan of things like ground stations, and this is exactly the same. So it's a screen here, and the way it works is that you can pop this on top of a tripod, take it to the field, and then not only can you fly with it, but also other people can look over your shoulder and see what view you're getting with the FPV pieces too. Now I know loads of people who are already flying with the original LCD 5802, and I've been playing with this over the last couple of weeks and using it very successfully in the field. There's a couple of things on here I really like, and there's a couple of things on here which aren't fantastic. So let me just very quickly go through in the video what comes in the box, talk a little bit about ground stations, why you might be interested in using something like this apart from goggles, and then finally we'll talk about the good points and the bad points. I need to say a very big thank you to banggood.com for sending us this to try. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to go and have a look at this thing. Now as it arrives, it comes in a box, looks like this, 7-inch LCD DVR, so it's a 7-inch screen, diversity on the top, and when you open it up you have kind of the space with a little cloth, a very basic manual with how you use it, a really nice carrying bag, and this is one of the really cool things about this, is that with some of the other ground station monitors that we've got, so we've done a couple on the channel already. We did one where we actually built one in a case. That was huge and very bulky to cart around. Then we also had one from Hobby King, which is very fully featured but quite bulky too. And then the one that we use an awful lot when we're out and about, or we have done until now, is this thing here. This is, you can tell all the fingerprints on it, it's very well used. This is the Sight Black Pearl diversity receiver, and this has been our favourite up till now. The only thing with this is that the screen actually clips on around the edges, so when you take it to the field, I carry it in like a little case with the aerials on top, and also with an external battery, because the battery on this doesn't last very long either, but it's a lovely screen and it works beautifully. If we go back to the Eachine, you get everything that you need ready to rock and roll and to carry. So I don't need to carry anything else apart from slip it into this little soft sock, and it's very nicely lined, so it kind of keeps it nice and safe, and then that just goes in the bag with the couple of antennas, and I'm kind of ready to rock and roll. So it's very, very transportable, and because of that I have been using it an awful lot. Additionally, you get like a charger, and you get some input-output cables, and you get a couple of these absolutely horrid whip antennas, but as we've been doing for the past 5 or 6 weeks, I say don't worry about them, get yourself one of these Ionway aerials. So now we've gone through what comes in the box, let's talk a little bit more about what I like about the screen. So why would you use one of these? Well, a lot of people that I fly with don't like goggles, either because they wear glasses, they have an astigmatism in one of their eyes or something like that, and a screen is quite nice, particularly in winter, because if you don't have goggles with a fan on the top, they can steam up in the colder weather, and that can get you into a lot of problems. The Eachine, as you can see, the screen is actually part of it. As you open it up, it pops open. The controls here are really basic. You can either manually control the band and the channel, or you can just hit the search button and it'll automatically go out and find the channel that you're interested in, or you have this record and picture button here. Now this is the clever part. On the side it has a little SD card holder, and you just pop that in there, and the nice thing is you can actually get to it with a nail, so you don't have to be carrying around things that are nice and sharp and try and poke them around. So that just pops into the side, you just hit that little button on the front to record, and it starts recording. On the side we have AV out, so you can run a set of goggles from it, from the diversity signal, which is brilliant. We have an AV in if you want to watch something else on this. Unfortunately there's no HDMI connector in for this, and then we also have a DC in, plus or minus 12 volts. Now that's quite handy if you want to run it in an auxiliary way at the field from an external battery. I tend to have an external 3S LiPo with the right kind of connector, and I try and run them in tandem. The battery in this, it kind of gives you depending on how you're using it, whether you're recording or not, you get a couple of hours out of it. I tend to like to have a little bit of a backup plan, so I'll use a 3S battery with an adapter and just pop that in the side to supplement the charge. Now, the couple of things that I really like about this are the fact that the screen itself is really, really pretty. If I just power this on, it works really well. It's very easy to see what's going on, and it worked great. As you can hear, also has a little speaker on the back, so you don't have to worry about being able to listen to the noise on the plane if you're flying a fixed wing. The search button and everything is nice and easy. The LEDs here in the corner just show you when you are on either aerial, and also give you a warning when the battery's getting low, and I love that. I like that idea to give you a bit of a warning. The things that I'm not as big a fan about, they've decided to use these style connectors on the top, and these are the ones, when the camera catches up, that have the pins in the middle. Now, all of the antennas that I own are like these, because all the rest of my kit is the kind where the antenna is the one that has the pin in. So what I've had to do to use this is invest in some extra little things, in some little adapters that actually take normal aerials that I have and convert them so that they are the right polarity to pop on the top. That's a bit of a pain in the bum. I'd have liked the option to kind of order it with the right kind of connectors on. I have actually taken this apart, and these are soldered onto the main board. I've ordered some of these in the right polarity and sex for the connectors that I have. I'm actually going to replace these on here, because these little things that are connected onto the bottom of all of my antennas that I'm using with this aerial, it's just a pain, and when I want to swap things around, you've got to then try and figure out how you keep this bottom part full so you can unscrew the top, because you have to try and get a little pair of snipe nails in there to do it. It's just painful. If you are already into FPV and you have a lot of aerials, and you have a lot of specialized aerials that have a different connector, because a lot of the other stuff that you're using, like me, stuff like Fat Shark and also stuff like Black Pearl that have the different connector on the top, then that is going to really, really bug you. So the thing that I do need to draw to your attention is there is a little bit of a problem with the DVR in this. Now, the DVR itself works fine, and I think if you were going to be taking videos of your plane soaring around at altitude looking over the countryside, you probably wouldn't notice this, but it's something that I know I'm going to get asked about, so I've done a little bit of research, done a little bit of testing too. Now, to test it, what I've done, I'm actually going to use one of these cameras here. This is a Fat Shark 700 TVL line camera, and it's one of those cute ones that has a little connector at the back that can flick it between PAL and NTSC. So I can set this up and I can record a PAL signal and an NTSC signal on this. I'll also record a PAL and the same PAL and NTSC signal on my Fat Shark Dominator V2s, and we'll put them side by side. The DVR in the Eachine 5802D does really well. The colour saturation is really nice. The way it's handling the brightness of the image is perfect too. For me, I like the way it's recorded this image better than in the Fat Sharks. However, let's go and try this with that 700 TVL line camera that we've just looked at. If we try it first of all with NTSC, then we get an identical result. We have the Fat Shark on the left, the Eachine 5802D recording on the right, and we can see we're getting exactly the same image, although again, I would probably say that I prefer the way that the exposure and recording has been done on the Eachine. The problem comes when you switch the camera into PAL, and now we can see the problem that I need to draw your attention to. On the left hand side we still have the full image, on the right hand side we are losing the bottom. Now, we have a video already on the channel that talks about NTSC and PAL, and this unfortunately isn't just common to the Eachines. We've looked at other DVRs on the channel as well where you have to be a little bit careful about this. It doesn't mean that you can't use it. It means for those of us that fly PAL, then what you've got to do is flick your camera over to NTSC if there's an option for that, because if you are using on-screen displays and you don't want to lose that bottom bit of information, and typically that's where a lot of on-screen displays display things like the GPS coordinates, which are quite handy to have if the model disappears. If you're not in NTSC, you won't have that information recorded onto the SD card. Last thing I'll mention is I have designed a little mount for this so it can fit onto a Tyrannus. If you're interested, you can go on Thingiverse, download it. On the bottom of the screen it does have a standard 1/4 inch connector and also a slide as well. So in summary, definitely worthwhile having a look at here. This is relatively inexpensive compared with something like the Black Pearl, and you get all of the features of the Black Pearl screen plus that DVR. But do be aware, the connectors on the top, make sure that you have the right kind of antennas to plug into them, otherwise you're going to have to buy some adapters. And also be aware for recording that if you're using PAL cameras, you are going to lose the bottom bit of your video. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. There are lots of other videos on the channel and they're carefully ordered into playlists, so you may find that there are other videos on this same subject that you can go and watch. So I would recommend going into the playlist area of Painless 360 YouTube channel and looking around and seeing what there is. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and happy flying.